Hi everybody, welcome to a fun 3 whiskey tasting that takes us around the United States of America. We have Whiskey Acres Rye. Now this is coming from an Illinois distillery. That's very exciting. They grow their own grains and they distill their own stuff. Very cool distillery. Great story, too. Then we have Spirit Works coming from Sonoma, California. A company owned and distilled, all ran by women. This is a wonderful, wonderful small distillery on the rise. They make a wheat whiskey I really, really like. This is their straight rye whiskey. So we got a bit of a rye taste-off between two small independent distilleries. And then we have Longbranch, the whiskey tied to Matthew McConaughey. And that's where we'll start. We'll start with Longbranch. Now, Matthew McConaughey is Wild Turkey's celebrity partner. He's actually their creative director. That's what they call him. So they have given him a formal role, and he does some stuff with them on YouTube. And apparently, they say he knows his whiskey too. Well, if you have the Russells as your teachers, you're probably going to be all right in the whiskey department. So this smells very fruity. It ranges from peach and plum. It has oak and Texas mesquite charcoal. So it's got a bit of a finish to it. It smells very differently on the nose than most American whiskeys. It smells very fruity, smells very smoky. Now, I have reviewed this before, but it's been a while since I've tasted this one. Okay. Definitely has a big mouth of mesquite. It's got some like smoked paprika. I get a lot of peach in this, and then some like fried pie crust. It's pretty short on the finish. It's not one that is wowing me on the finish, but the taste is very nice. Yeah, if you're in an experimental mood, I'd say go for it. But if you're a traditionalist, you don't like to sway much outside of the traditional American whiskey styles, stay away. You'll be disappointed. Okay, so let's go to Spirit Works Straight Rye. I'm getting a bit of like a bunch of crushed peanut shells. There's a restaurant called Five Guys that I go to. They just sell burgers, but they have these actual troughs of peanuts that you can eat peanuts out of while you are waiting to order. And it smells like that. It's got kind of like some saltiness, some like dirt smells. It smells like a big old thing of peanuts sitting at Five Guys. So if I'm getting that Five Guys smell, then that means I'm probably picking up a little bit of hamburger grease too, but I wouldn't go that far. Oh wow. So on the nose, it smells a lot like peanut shells. On the palate, herbs and spices is really the best way to describe this. It's very herbally, almost like an herbal candy, that you can find in places like Whole Foods. And then the spice is really a pepper spice for me. There's not any of those baking spice notes. It's more of like a black pepper. Yeah, that's a very exciting. This is a bottled and bond. This is a bottled and bond rye, so very exciting to see what they've done here with it. And they're definitely heading in the right direction. It might just be It might just need another year, I think, before it's kind of has that wow factor to it. But it's definitely drinkable now. It definitely has some flavor there. If you're into herbal candies, if you like herbs, highly recommend the Spirits Works straight rye, bottled in a bond rye. But if you do not like those flavors, I would avoid it. Okay, so let's go to Whiskey Acres. Whiskey Acres is in DeKalb, Illinois. They grow all their own stuff. Funny story with them. I was actually, for an April Fool's joke one year, we were going to develop a vodka together and sell it on April Fool's and donate all the money to a veterans charity. And I think I just couldn't pull the trigger. I just couldn't pull the trigger because I hate vodka that much. And I think that says something about me. Like, you know, even when I have a moment to like help someone, I still can't do anything with vodka because I hate it that much. I probably should see someone about that. I've got issues. Okay. Okay, so the nose, you know, it has this pretty big kind of like construction site smell. So I'm talking about like wood and you know, soldering, like the smell of somebody soldering something. It has that note in here. Like welding, you know, it just metals. It has a lot of those smells, and I walk by a lot of construction sites, so it just that for whatever reason, that's what I'm picking up here. The palate definitely does not have the construction notes. So this is one of those classic cases of the nose is taking you down one direction and then the palate is completely different. Now what I get on the palate is rye bread with a little bit of like honey butter on it. It hits the palate nicely. It's very approachable. It actually, that honey note you kind of get on the tip of the tongue, and then the rye bread's kind of like in the middle. And there's just a touch of spice toward the back. So not bad at all on the spice side. Yeah, this is one where you need to be a whiskey drinker who appreciates the process of craft whiskey. So if you do not like, if you've had bad experiences with craft whiskey, I would not recommend this one for you, because I think you have to have an open mind when you're tasting it. There are not flaws in here per se. It's just that second time I tasted it, that rye that I mentioned, it's like a raw rye. That honey that I mentioned is like, you know, on the second taste, it's kind of like in the frying pan, overcooked kind of, you know, kind of honey. And there is a spice there, but that nose is definitely one that does not fall in line with a lot of the traditional ryes that are on the market today. With that said, you know, I applaud Whiskey Acres. I think they're a great rising distillery, and I'm all about supporting the little guy. You know, when I can give that my kind of like my stamp to say go try them. So if you're someone who's wanting to support small distillers, if you're someone who is interested in expanding your palate of like what a lot of American whiskeys are tasting like right now, definitely go, you know, try some of the Whiskey Acres. And I do think that of the tasting here today, you know, for me, the one that kind of sends it home is the Spirits Works, the straight rye bottled in a bond. I mentioned that if you like the herbal candies, you'll love this one. Well, I happen to love herbal candies. I also love red hots, and so there's a little bit of that like spice and the herb in here that I really like. So in this tasting, well, I also like the Longbranch. There's just, I don't know what it is, but I just don't like necessarily there's a green note in the Longbranch that turns me off on the finish. And then now I'm recalling it a little bit more vividly, but as I taste it again, I'm just turned off on the lack of finish, and I do not like that green note that is there, and no doubt that is probably from the mesquite. Now, the Spirit Works one, I love herbal candies, but again, if you do not like herbal candies, you may not like this one. But kudos to Spirits Works for making such a really nice rye whiskey, and a huge congratulations to you on a Bottled and Bond product. We love to see more Bottled and Bond in the world. This is an important bottle, and I'd say grab it while you still can. So that'll do it for today's tasting of three. If you like this, click subscribe. We're trying to grow this YouTube channel. We also have a membership site if you want to see some more exclusive content and see things before the rest of the world. Go over there. Like the members knew the whiskeys of the year contenders before anybody else. They also get to nominate what gets tasted on this show. So click subscribe, and thank you for coming and hanging out with me for this short little time. Be safe out there. Remember, vodka sucks unless it's being used for hand sanitizer. Cheers.